Good morning. Welcome to Bazaar Morning Call. We're live from the CNBC-TV18 Motilal Oswal studio. I'm Sonia and joining me today is Nigel and Surabhi. Thank you for watching us on the channel. This is the start of a brand new week. And guess what? It's a truncated week. We're all here in our festive glory, kickstarting the Holy Week. So guys, how are we feeling about it?
Very good. Colourful.
Best cue ever, right? That we sort of get ready for the festivities tomorrow, have a day today. And I think the start, in any case, has been optimistic. The way we ended Friday and then what we got from Wall Street. So I think pretty much, entering the week on a good note, Sonia.
And normally on a Monday morning, Sonia always tells us whether it's a truncated week or not. Today could visibly make out that it's going to be a truncated week.
It's all festive cheer as well, right? And it's the best part when you come back from a holiday and you go into a holiday, right? So everyone's feeling good. The bulls are feeling quite good, actually. That's the way we are stacked up this morning. It's a truncated week of trade, of course. We have a holiday tomorrow. But the global handover was very strong, and we had a good run on Friday as well. So all in all, the SGX Nifty is up about, 75 odd points. The indications are that we could build on to the gains that we saw last week. The Dow was up almost 400 odd points. So you had the Dow, in fact, breaking its 4-week losing streak. And the US 10-year yields have retreated actually from the highs that they saw last week. So the going is pretty good. The setup looks good as we kickstart trade. The Nifty has in the past fortnight bounced back twice from that 17,250 to 17,300 level. So let's see if that proves to be a bit of a support for the market in the near term. At least that's a level to watch out for on the downside. There was FI buying, a small amount, but buying nevertheless. Which is always a good thing. DI is bought as well in large chunks, about 2,100 odd crores. So it's important to see if the Nifty holds on to that 17,250 level on the downside. And it has conquered the 200 DMA as well of 17,400 thereabouts. So let's see if it can hold on to that level as well. A couple of things to watch out for. There's a lot of global data that comes through this week. There's the non-farm payroll data on Friday. There's the Fed chairman testimony that happens, later in the next couple of days as well. So we'll be tracking all of that data very closely. But just purely for today, looks like it's going to be a good run. Festive cheer continues. The important bit is whether, this pullback is sustainable, because it hasn't been in the recent past. It's been fairly fragile. So let's see. What are you watching out for?
I'm also looking out for how durable this pullback is going to be, Sonia. I think the difference this time around is that we've got some global support. For the time being, the US rates market has taken a pause after a relentless move on that 10-year, as you mentioned. So even this morning, and you're looking psychologically, you're below the 4% handle. The dollar index, remember midweek headlines last week, it was all about how it's climbed above 105. So it continues to be below those levels, at least for the time being. But I don't want to take away from the fact that data is still strong in the US. I mean, you had the US ISM services data, the non-manufacturing PMI data come out. And look at that. I mean, it was little below the previous month, but it's again topping estimates. I mean, 54.5 was the estimate, 55.2 is what we saw. And then I think that the litmus test for the bulls is going to come in on Friday, which is the non-farm payrolls report. So that's something to really keep in mind. But for the time being, till there's a technical pause, at least in this relentless yield move, the bulls will probably heave a sigh of relief. Just, you mentioned levels. Obviously, the 20 DMA is something that I'd look out for to start with, at least one level to watch out for. It comes in at around 17,700. So let's see if we can take that out with conviction. The move, just a word on the texture of the move. So we've had about 2 or 3 days of pullback. Friday was a real solid one. The net result of that is, so far in the 3 trading sessions that we've had in the month of March, the Nifty's moved less than 2%. The bulk of this move has come in on metals. It's come in obviously on PSU banks. And we all know PSU banks is a move linked to, of course, what we saw on Adani. And I think, Nigel, at least for me, that's also a watch point to see if the pop we got on the Adani news, whether that itself is a durable pop or not. Today, we have woken up to news of some rating agencies. ICRA, for instance, they've lowered ratings on some instruments for, let's say, an Adani, Adani Ports and one of the other Adani Group companies. So I also want to see if the conviction and the pop and the move on, the Adani Group and the related bank move that we saw, PSU banks, whether that can last and help the bulls as well?
Well, it's going to be a tricky start to trade because the SGX Nifty is suggesting a 70-80 point gap up, and you already had such a big run. So maybe chasing the opening may not be such a wise thing. Maybe buying the intraday dip could be a better option. In terms of setup, well, in Friday's trading session, the Nifty conquered the 200 DMA, the Nifty Bank conquered the 20 DMA. So technically, a strong close is what we had, and there was a bit of a seller strike that did play out. The IT index, well, that could rebound today. The Nasdaq was an outperformer after a few sessions out there. And that normally has a bit of a rub-off on the IT index, which was underperforming in Friday's trading session. The broader market participation, though, that's going to be eyed because in Friday's trading session, the mid-cap and the small-cap indices actually were relative underperformers. What did the FIs do in the F&O market? Well, we'll get to that in just a bit, but the F&O cues first. There was clearly short covering that played out on the Nifty. The Nifty ended high, opened just lower. And on the Nifty Bank as well, there were signs of short covering that did play out. The PCR, we pointed it a couple of sessions ago. When it goes below that 0.7 odd, that's normally a trigger for a bounce. And it came about. But now we're going to around that 1.2 odd mark. So maybe in the near term, that's moving to the upper end. The FIs, well, they covered short position. And there's a big delta that played out. They covered 30,000 short contracts. They added more than 10,000 long contracts. And if you're looking at the net short positioning as well, that's come down drastically. The short positioning from around that 84-85% odd, it's come down to around 74%. And pull up the net short contracts from close to 1.3 lakh. Well, that's come down to around 89,000 odd. Doesn't take away from the fact that we're still net short. The FIs are still heavily net short on the index. On the index option side, well, they bought calls as well as puts. But the most heartening aspect out there is that they wrote 5 puts for 1 call. That's telling you that the base has moved up a little bit. And what were they writing? 17,500, 17,600 puts. Both of them, they added more than 1 crore shares out there, which brings us to the levels. Resistance comes in at around the 20 DMA. That's 17,700 to 17,750. The bears will want to defend this mark. But going by the options data and the put writing that we saw, support comes in that vicinity of around 17,460 to around 17,520. But the Nifty Bank, that's the big mover. That's the one that's led this recent rebound. And you had some put writing that you saw at the 41,000 put. So you deduct the 150, 200 rupees from around that 41,000 odd mark. You get your crucial stop loss that comes in at around that 40,800, the support level, 40,800 to around 40,850. While on the upside, 41,700, that's going to be the crucial level. That's around the 50 DMA. So the SGX Nifty suggests a gap up, but maybe not chasing the gap up could be a little bit wise. Look to buy the intraday dip and hope that the Nifty stays above that 17,450 odd mark.
So we were talking about festive cheer and market cheer, right? There was so much football cheer as well
Arsenal,
over the weekend.
What a brilliant game, right?
And what about the washout last evening? Man U Liverpool 7-0. It was unbelievable.
I think we'll keep that, Sonia, once Anu joins in for his chat later on.
We're Arsenal fans. We're not Man U trolls, right? All right. Well, we'll kickstart the show on that note, but lots happening.